Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be doing another movie review, and yes, it's another war type movie. And no, that's not all the movies I watch. It just happens to be that I'm just starting this type of review process, and I just happen to have watched this movie again, and I've seen it a couple times. Actually, when I watched Black Hawk Down, which I'll do a movie review on that at some point, that was another good movie that I watched over and over. And I wanted to watch this one a few times to really get into the developments of what transpired in those 13 hours. And I know directors take liberties in what they show and what they, to make it entertainment for folks in the theater. But how much liberty can you really take when it's actually based on recent history, right? Because we've got the knowledge of what had transpired. We've got the records of what, we had hearings about it, and I don't really want to get into the nuts and bolts of what got us to this point where we have one of our ambassadors killed. I mean, history is history. But I only can say that the ambassador here, who's representing the United States, okay, in this case, he was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to go to a country representing our values, our country, to help move their country into peace, or into a way of life that was going to be, a better future for them. And when governments get toppled and there's unrest, you tend to get two sides of the argument. You get those that are pro to the change, and you got those people that do not like to change. And in this case, one would think that the side that did not like to change is obviously the bad guys in this movie. And how they came after our ambassador, came after our two facilities, really shows these people's hatred for us. And the movie reflects that. That reflects that anger. And it also reflects heroism at a level that I don't think many people can understand. And if you watch this movie and come away with it coming away with it not appreciating the fact that guys gave their lives to defend the values of the United States and defend the personnel of the United States. Now, back in the day, think about it. Your ambassador, if you send an ambassador to a place, that's like sending you're sending a representative, not only for your country, but a representative from the president. I mean, it's like an extra extension of us, right? And when you attack an ambassador, that should be as bad as attacking our president itself. So the way I look at this is, a lot of things didn't happen correctly, obviously, and I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts on, we had hearings about it. I understand. You watch this movie, you'll understand things went wrong quick, and the U.S. could have done better. But the reality is when you kill one of our ambassadors, we have to do something. And that's what kind of made me feel bad about this. It's like, okay, how many times is somebody going to negatively affect us, and we're not going to step up and say, look, that is terrible? Because I tell you what, if someone took a shot at our president, dang well heads would roll. But if our ambassador gets knocked out, come on. I mean, we should have taken some really drastic measures to say, look, you just killed a representative of our country who's there just to try to help with your government, try to help you move forward peacefully with your government, and this is how you reward us. You kill our ambassador, and then you start trying to kill the rest of the Americans that are on the ground. Now, I don't really, want to get into the politics of that, the Hillary Clinton stuff or anything like that. It just, watch this movie. I recommend watching this movie. And if you walk away this movie hating it, I don't know, how you could. I mean, I can understand it's gruesome. I can understand the war part of it, that people are uneasy, but okay, you got to put up your big boy pants, and you got to accept the fact that the world is not rainbows and unicorns. The world is tough, and I know, the path to to hell is paved with good intentions. I guess that's what people have said. And, sometimes us in America, we tend to overreach sometimes, and we don't need to get into that. But I don't think this is where we were overreaching. I think this is where we really wanted to try to help. We're not trying to nation build here. We were just, this ambassador just wanted to do the right thing, and then this terrible, terrible thing happened. Now, in the movie, what I liked about the movie was the fact that it got into not the it talks about the warrior part of these men, but it also talked about the family. That every time these people went out and defended our values, or in the case of this movie, towards the end, just trying to stay alive, they had families at home that would be affected by their deaths. And you got to appreciate a person who goes to another country to help shape peace, because that's what they were trying to do, and then gets caught in this crazy, basically an execution of our ambassador. That's the way I look at it. They executed our ambassador, and I don't remember as an American, or I haven't seen the movie, or I haven't seen that we ever did anything about it, other than saying that, oh, so and so's to blame for this, this debacle. Well, yeah, granted, it was a debacle. It was a bad debacle, but heads should have rolled. Something should have happened, because this just invites more nonsense like this. I mean, it's like the dog who bites you, and you don't do anything to change that behavior, and you're just going to get bit over and over and over again. I mean, that's the thing with terrorism is, if they can get away with it once, they're going to continue getting away with it if there's no consequences. Well, I did enjoy this movie. I enjoyed not that this happened. It's another movie that should have not needed to be made, similar to the review I did for Patriots Day. I mean, this movie should never had needed to be made, but it was made, and I think the storytelling, Michael Bay, he, kind of exaggerates some of the, like, I guess we call it the booms or the explosions in movies. I mean, he's notorious for that. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt in this movie. But I do believe he tried to reflect what really happened based on what information he had as a director. And I do really recommend this movie. And I've watched it a few times here on Amazon. There's 18,000 people that have reviewed it, and it's got 5 stars. I don't like to review movies from 0 to 5 stars. I'm not that kind of person. I like to say that with a movie, I got something from it. I got entertainment from it. I got education from it. I felt something. That's what makes a good movie for me. If I walk away from a movie and I feel something, and I've learned something about people who fight for me, because I'm sitting at home doing whatever I do with my family, and we've got guys in Benghazi being shot at, and these guys have families, and they have decided to take that burden on to defend us, defend our values, defend peaceful transactions in the world. And it says a lot about a person that is willing to do that. It says a lot about a person. In when you go into this movie, there's a scene where these guys are ready to go help the ambassador. And I keep on saying it, I believe his name was Stevens. And they wanted to go help him, but because of because of red tape, I guess I would say, it's like, okay, we can't give you the permission to go. And then these guys finally said, hell with orders. These are Americans being killed. This is our ambassador. We need to do something. And these guys are competent enough at boots on the ground to know that they needed to get in these vehicles and get to that compound timely. And I think if they did get to that compound timely, who knows? I mean, they could have saved him, or they might not have saved him. But the reality is these guys stepped up. And they stepped up, and they stepped up, and they stepped up. And I cannot say enough about that part of it. It's like, you could say a lot of things about our military, the good or the bad, or our history with with what we have done with our military, but you can't say bad things about the people themselves. I mean, I can understand global bad decisions, but when it comes to boots on the ground and this stuff happens, you got to look at it as a human being, as a human, that another human is standing in harm's way to protect your freedom, protect your peace, to protect everything in your life. There's somebody in this world with a gun or whatever they're using to defend that. And it is it is unfortunate that we have to use guns to keep peace. I mean, it would be nice if the world, was just arm wrestling. Okay, let's, arm wrestle for it. But it's not like that. That's not the reality of it. It's like you need people, warriors. It's always been this way, and I think it always will be this way. You have to have warriors with compassion, common sense, to help do the hard things. And in this movie, you see it. I mean, these guys aren't shooting at people who haven't shot at them first. I mean, multiple times in this movie, they ask for permission to shoot, and they're like, if you're shot at, yes. If you see a gun, yes. But you better not. It's the rules of our engagement. So they're not just picking people off unless they're being shot at. And it was nuts that they're going through the city and people are walking by and they don't know who's on their side, who isn't on their side. I mean, it must have been very scary for them because it's 5 or 6 of them, trying to go, get to the ambassador, and the whole street's lined with people that they don't know if they want to kill them or not. I mean, that is reality, and there was no backup. There was no ripcord, no parachute. There was not, it was what it was. I mean, we had no assets in the air. We had no big assets on the ground. They were basically out there by themselves, an Alamo situation, and they stood there. They stood and lasted. And that says something great about them. Regardless of how you feel about the military, it reflects honor, compassion, and greatness for somebody to do that for us. So the movie is called 13 Hours, A Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Again, it was director Michael Bay, so if you've liked his movies, I believe you'll like this one. Well, I hope this video I've made, this review, is helpful to you, and I hope that it promotes you to watch it. At least take the time to watch it. And if you're a Prime member, obviously it's included. It's included as part of your Prime membership. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkis Zone.